All right. Hello, everyone. I'm Ellaine Cruz from PyLadies Manila, excited to guide you to our next panel, Python across Asia, collaboration and cross-border sport. This session brings together representatives from different Asian chapters to share how we can support one another across borders and strengthen our collective impact. Let's warmly welcome our panelists, Daphne, Cathy, Silvia, and Jashlein. Hello, everyone.
Hi, everyone.
Hi,
Hello,
everyone.
everyone. Okay, so to help everyone get to know you a bit better, let's start with a quick introduction. Can each of you introduce yourselves, share how your chapter started, and what motivated you to become involved in PyLadies? Let's do it in alphabetical order, starting with Cathy. Cathy?
Yeah, sure. I'll start first. So it was really lovely to meet all you guys today. So well, for me, I'm actually a career switcher. I used to work in the finance field, and but during the pandemic, something happens at home, so I had to take a career break. And so while during the exploration period, I found tech, and I'm always curious about like testing out how things work underneath the hood. So, well, I ended up like trying to break into tech, and then while during my transition period, right, when I was learning to code, uh, and I started to join the local meetups in Hong Kong, and I always, I've always noticed I'm always the uh, only the few women in the room, and I felt awkward and difficult to blend in, and sometimes very scared to ask questions. So I've always thinking, so I've started to like look for community, like for female coders, where I feel safe, supportive, and welcoming. And well, but then I have been volunteering with PyCon Hong Kong this year, and I met the founding member of PyLadies Hong Kong, Calvin and Daisy. Met the founding team, and then I think it would be a very good idea to have a local Python community for female coders. Yeah, that's how I started. Yeah.
That's very relatable, Kathy. And now let's go with Daphne.
Hello, everyone. My name's Daphne Choong, and I am one of the co-founders of PyLadies Kuala Lumpur, Malaysia. Our chapter was founded by 7 amazing women in January this year only. And I benefited from joining women tech communities when I was early in my career for all the same reasons Cathy mentioned. I was one of the few uh, women in my office, and when I go to other conferences, I always feel that I don't belong until I joined women tech communities. So for me, I just wanted to give back to the community and pay it forward. And before PyLadies, a few of us were active in Women Who Code Kuala Lumpur before it was shut down. And we got together and agreed that it was time again that we start. And this time with PyLadies, when the opportunity came up after meeting at the PyCon Malaysia 2024. So we are here now, and we have 18 organizing leads and 158 members in our LinkedIn group. And for my day job, I work at Microsoft as a partner solution architect, and I build with partners AI solutions on the Microsoft platform. I'm super excited to be on this cross-border panel.
Thank you so much for joining, Daphne. And I love that you pioneered your chapter in Kuala Lumpur. Very inspiring. Now let's go with Jashlein. Jashlein? Hello, Jashlein? Okay, so while Jashlein is reconnecting. Let's go with Sylvia. Let's go with Sylvia first.
Yeah. Thank you. Hello, everyone. Yes, I'm Silvia, and I'm from PyLadies, Yogyakarta, Indonesia. Actually, since I was learned in technology, when I visit some event, the girl only a few, so it's like I don't feel like I have a lot of female friends in a technology event. And when I met several friends in PyCon APEC last year, in which held in Yogyakarta, at that time I joined a class, a talk about PyLadies. So at that time, I was inspired that there is a community that really safe for women. So me and 5 friends was gathered together after that event, and we plan to create a new chapter in Yogyakarta where all of us was living in Yogyakarta, so we want to create a chapter in that city. Actually, at first there are 6 people, but when we start the community in January this year, it's about 5 people. So at the first event, actually, we want to try something different. So we don't only create a, a workshop or a webinar, but we want something really chill, like creating a sharing session in a cafe. So that's how we started. Thank you, and I really glad to meeting all of you.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. And I guess that type of initiative is what makes a PyLadies community very, very comfortable. Okay, now lastly, we have Jashlein. Hello, Jashlein.
Hello, I'd like to apologize for disconnecting earlier. There's some net issues on my end, but I'm here. So, hello everyone. I'm Jashlein Young Marquez, but you can call me Iya, and I'm currently an undergraduate computer science student and currently one of the sponsorship leads and core volunteers of Python Philippines, and most importantly, a proud member of PyLadies Manila. And a little bit about myself, I've worked in full stack development and data science through different internships, but more than anything, I'm passionate about building meaningful applications and being part of communities that make tech more inclusive. So, for our chapter, PyLadies Manila, it started way back in 2014 with just a handful of women meeting over coffee. And I'd like to give a shout out to my ates, Micaela Reyes and Wesley Talan. So without them and our volunteers, there would be no PyLadies Manila. And actually, it wasn't a formal organization back then. It was simply a group looking for a safe and welcoming space to learn Python together. And over time, those tiny meetups grew into workshops, circles, and events. And I joined because I wanted to become part of a space where women can learn without fear or judgment. And also, as someone who struggled with confidence when I started out in the tech field, I know how powerful it is to um, find a community that genuinely supports you. And Python Philippines and PyLadies Manila gave me that. So now I want to help give that same experience to others. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you, Jashlein. I love the women would learn without fear and judgment part for the community. Okay, so next, thank you all. It's inspiring to hear how each chapter started with passion and community. Now, that passion is our fuel, but the road isn't always smooth. Let's talk about hurdles. So, looking at your chapter's experience, what would you say has been the most significant challenge in building and sustaining your PyLadies community, and what key lesson emerged from working through that challenge? So, now let's start with Jashleen first. Jashleen.
Oh, thank you for that question, Elaine. So, for our most significant challenge in our chapter, the biggest challenges, even before I joined PyLadies Manila, rather in Python Philippines too, it was the bandwidth, the time and energy that you have to put in volunteering or organizing. Because most of the people, or the women rather, in our PyLadies chapter are also active in Python Philippines, including myself. So all of us were juggling careers, studies, and personal responsibilities. So naturally, the community slowed down due to those factors. But the lesson that grew out of that experience is, for me, your community doesn't need to be loud to be meaningful. You don't have to be loud so you could be seen. So you could just start out small. Like for our chapter, we started small. We leaned into small and intimate gatherings, small chikahan sessions, gatherings over coffee, simple hangouts, and bonding moments. And those moments of connection actually became the heart of the chapter, and we became comfortable and safe with each other, which made us a community, a group. And it showed me that community building isn't about the scale of events, it's also about how safe, supported, and seen people are in your presence.
Thank you so much for being honest and open. Let's call another panelist, Daphne.
Yeah, I think what Jashlein mentioned, I definitely agree that bandwidth is one of the issues and challenges. But another challenges that we face is also funding. Um, because people are used to meetups, tech meetups, where you have a nice office to host, and you have food and beverages together with the event, and we not necessarily have the funds to fund for either the venue or the food. Sometimes finding sponsors for this can be challenging. So the way we handle this is we have to set expectations that this is set the expectation that the purpose of the meetup is to get to know each other and learn from each other, not necessarily to have like free food or drinks. So we can have a little bit of snacks here and there, but nothing too expensive. And we also need to be creative to find sponsors. Sometimes people are willing to donate, and yeah, and also I'm getting some tips from Philippines, Manila, um, that maybe we can set up, for example, GitHub donations for some sort of recurring sponsorship. This is something we are thinking to implement as well.
Thank you, Daphne. And now these stories remind us that we're not alone. Many chapters face similar hurdles, and hearing how you manage them helps others feel less intimidated and more hopeful. Now, funding is often one of the toughest realities for many chapters, especially in Asia. What creative or effective strategies has your chapter used to secure sponsorships, grants, or other forms of support? Now, let's hear the answer from Cathy.
Yeah. So, in terms of, I guess, getting sponsorship is always a challenge for every chapters, I guess. And also, the economy is not that good. I mean, globally, so we have to be like creative and proactive, I guess. So, right before the setup of our local chapters, I've actually because I personally maybe knew some female tech lead in some big tech company, I would maybe try to contact them and then try to introduce this concept of building a female community for beginner coders, or also yeah, and the whole point, I guess, is to let them know what we are doing, something that try to bring goodness to the communities. You have to spread that message to more people in the in the tech industry, and then set your expectation to a reasonable level. We are going to face restriction. That's normal, but that's not help us because some community they might not have budgets for this year, but once once you have set up a sort of communication channel with them, it will be easier. I mean, to keep in touch, and maybe they will introduce us to other tech companies that might be sponsoring us for venues or even funding. You That the possibilities are there. So yeah, just be open and proactive. Yeah, go out and talk to people. Yeah.
I love that. So these are such thoughtful approaches, and it's encouraging to hear that funding solutions don't always have to be big. Okay, so now in a region diverse as Asia, visibility looks different for every chapter, and it is just as essential as funding for growth. So how does your chapter increase its visibility, both within your local community and across the broader PyLadies network? Let's have Sylvia answer this question.
Right.
Sylvia?
Yeah. Am I audible? Clear?
Yes, you're audible.
Yeah. Yeah. So honestly, we don't try to do it all alone, because we're still a small community that has just started this year. So we tap into the network that we already have, like partnering up with local university and the companies where our members work, and we are also pretty tight with other local community like groups in Yogyakarta as well, also throughout Indonesia, like Python Yogyakarta and Google developer groups, etc. And we give each other feedbacks, like promote each other events, and also collaborate and create one event. And we also partnership with a university, so sometimes that university provides a place for our events, and they help us a lot. And from that, we can reach many people that not in Yogyakarta only, but also throughout Indonesia. And also, sometimes the attendees share their experience in our event, and from that, other attendees will come to join us in the next events. Also, the speakers as well, that they also share their experience to the other community and invite the community to join us. And from that, things make our community more visible to other people. So in conclusion, word of mouth has really become one of our biggest tools for getting noticed. Yeah, that's all.
Thank you so much, Sylvia. Collaboration does bring the best out of all of us. And it's inspiring to hear how each chapter finds its own voice and presence. Visibility isn't just about marketing, it's about letting communities know that spaces for them exist and that they are welcome. Okay, now one of the incredible things about PyLadies is how we uplift each other across borders. Have you collaborated with another PyLadies chapter in Asia? What made that partnership successful, and what did you learn from that experience? Let's go with Daphne.
Yeah, thanks. First of all, I think I echo what Silvia said. Our collaboration locally with PyData was such a success that encouraged us to hold our first ever meetup. Otherwise, we probably wouldn't have had our first meetup if not for the encouragement and collaboration with PyData Malaysia. But cross-border wise, when we decided that we are going to form the PyLadies Kuala Lumpur for the first time, I reached out to my Women Who Code friend Michaela in Philippines about PyLadies Manila, and she was so kind. I told her that I needed some advice about starting the KL chapter, and she was nice and introduced me to Ella, Madeline, and Wesley. And we had such a nice chat. The ladies gave me tips on events and workshops and that they have run locally, and setting up sponsorship mechanism. And they also gave us specific tips to help us run our first Django Girls workshop. And we successfully held that November 1st in conjunction with PyCon Malaysia. So I think sometimes working on our own feels so difficult to either start an event or start a chapter. But in collaboration, whether it's cross-border or locally, things start to become easier, especially with other members' experience that they share with us, giving us the confidence that, hey, this is how we do it elsewhere, so don't worry, you can always get support from each other. So I really enjoyed that collaboration, and I look forward to other opportunities to work together with Manila or other chapters.
Thank you so much, Daphne, for that and for reaching out to another PyLadies chapter, especially in building a sustainable community. Now, collaboration doesn't just strengthen programs, it strengthens people. Chapters run so many programs, but some make an especially strong impact. What program or initiative in your chapter has made the biggest difference locally? And do you think it could be adopted by other chapters across Asia? Let's start with Silvia.
Yes. So since the beginning, we all five in our chapter, we always think that we should create an event fun and not creating really boring. So people will always come back to our events, and that's why every time we want to plan a new event, we always think what can we do to make the learning fun, to make the beginner learn about Python not feel intimidating and not feel too heavy for them. So we create something like a unique concept for each event. We create a themes for each event, like creating a retro video game or and a chill after work for our events. So in our previous events, for example, in the Code Venture, that's what one of our events. We create it. We create the design, poster design, look like a video game, look like a design in Mario game, and that design will look so interesting for other people. And for the concept of that event, we also make it's not only just lectures but also a game. We in For example, we create a quiz that each attendee should run to take the question, and they have to run again to put the answer, and that's how we create the event more interesting and more fun to the beginner who just learn in technology. And with that vibe and creativity themes, I think that make the biggest difference for us. And maybe other chapter also can use that idea.
Thank you for that, Sylvia. That's a very interesting initiative that might inspire other chapters to adopt to. So even initiatives or even simple initiatives can create safe and transformative spaces. Now let's go with the other question. So this next one is called for any new or aspiring chapter leaders watching. What practical advice would you give new organizers who may be struggling with funding, visibility, or initial community engagement? Cathy?
Yeah, thank you. So I guess because we are new chapters, we are also, I wouldn't say like struggling, but I would say we the major challenge that we have right now is to get started, and like to first we need to set our expectation right. Well, for our first workshop, for our first events, I don't expect it to be like huge, big. So I just because we have gained support from female tech leads from major tech companies here in Hong Kong, and she agreed to host monthly, catch up meetings, like catch up section. Just it doesn't have to be like super tech relate like super technical. Well, first we, because our initiative is to first to get to know the community, and also to create the vibe, the environment that is welcoming and supporting to female coders. So I guess for us is to get started and maybe do something small, and then we'll see as we go. Yeah, and also because we all have jobs, we all have family obligations, so time, commitment, volunteer support are always issues for us. So I guess in terms of communication, you need to be like really flexible. You need to understand that we all have our own stuff at life. So when we are communicating with other volunteer or we have to be like really supportive to each other. If you are free this for this period of time, maybe you can take more initiative or responsibilities, and vice versa. So yeah, um, I guess that's pretty much for our chapters. Yeah, because we are just starting out. Yeah,
Thank you so much, Cathy. Such meaningful advice. It takes courage to start something new, and hearing your guidance can give future leaders the confidence to take that first step. Now, one final question to wrap up our panel. Let's think ahead. So, from your perspective, what do you see as the key factors that will ensure PyLadies chapters across Asia don't just survive but truly thrive long term? Let's start with Daphne first. Daphne?
Yeah, thanks. Um, if I could dream, I think that it would be so great to have more collaboration with other chapters. So if you are a member of other chapters around the world and you are visiting Kuala Lumpur, for example, please reach out to us, and maybe we can have a small meetup or like get together, have a coffee chat. That would be really fun. And if you're up for speaking, we're always looking for guest speakers. And so, yeah, do reach out. And I wonder if there's an opportunity for us to do like online fire chats, maybe once in a while, to get members from different chapters together to sort of like interact and talk about life in different countries and coding. And I also wonder if, yeah, we could do a joint project or coding together. Maybe create something on open source or GitHub and do something fun. Like I would like to learn more about programming games in Python. Maybe Silvia and friends can teach us about that. Yeah, that's me.
I, I love that idea, Daphne. Now with Jashlein.
My biggest advice is to start from where you are and with what you have. And you don't need to have a big event uh, like, to build a strong community. Some of the most meaningful connections happen in small circles, in small gatherings, over coffee, or just casual coding sessions or like gaming sessions, and even simple check ins with your teammates, team members. And what matters the most is creating a space where people feel seen and supported. And for when it comes to funding, uh, it's important to keep things lightweight, like what Daphne said earlier. We have to set expectations. For me, focus on programs that don't really require that big amount of money, but rather create real value, like mentorships, study groups, and virtual meetups. As your community becomes more active and visible, support will naturally follow. And for visibility, you need to show up consistently, like by simple actions like joining local tech events or collaborating with nearby communities or just sharing your journey online. That is already important for the visibility of your chapter. And it isn't about big announcements, it is about letting people know about your passion and sincerity. And most importantly, you don't have to do anything or everything alone. So, in a community, you have your volunteers. It's important to lean on them, reach out to them, and uh, also reach out to more established communities so people could help you and your community. And one thing I learned is that communities grow not because one person is strong, but because everyone contributes with what they can. So that's my answer. To sum it all up, don't rush. Communities are built through trust and not speed. So if you lead with intention and trust, the right people would come and the chapter will naturally flourish.
I love that sound advice, Jashlein. To every people is vital to building a strong community. Now, thank you so much, Daphne, Cathy, Silvia, and Jashlein for sharing your wisdom, challenges, and dreams with all of us today. Now, to everyone tuning in, community work is often quiet, often invisible, and often powered by volunteers who give so much of their heart. If there's one thing this panel reminds us of, it's that we don't have to do this work alone. Whether you're a chapter lead, a volunteer, a learner, an ally, or even a potential partner or sponsor listening in, there's a place for you in shaping the future of PyLadies in Asia. Let's keep supporting each other, keep sharing resources, and keep building a network where women in Python can thrive across borders. Now, thank you for joining us and enjoy the rest of PyLadiesCon 2025. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you